Okay, for step 7, we are going to create another raster grid. Actually, we're going to create 2 raster grids that are important as inputs that will serve as inputs when doing the least cost alignment. Now, we're going to use that same distance accumulation tool, but for this, we're going to um, estimate the cost weighted distance from the origin substation across the entire cumulative cost grid. And that's where what this will be used to again create that final alignment toward our destination substation. Um, so we're going to use essentially the inputs that are in this dialog here. We'll do that in ArcGIS Pro. So here's the cumulative cost grid that we calculated in step 6. This is the map, by the way, that you'll be um, copying into your PowerPoint presentation along with that least cost alignment on top of it. Um, Only because this is probably the most important um, calculation or map that you'll create in the for each scenario. Really tells me that you've done all of the steps leading to this point. Okay, but what we do for this final step is use the second to last step is to use the distance accumulation tool. The distance accumulation tool has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. The input raster for the input is going to be the line source. So this is the electrical substation in the northwest part of the study area. And we're going to create a new distance accumulation raster and name that S1 suitability cost. Okay. And then we're going to use as our input cost raster this cumulative grid that's shown here, the S1 suitability. And we're also going to create a new it's called a backlink raster, and I'm going to name it S1 suitability backlink. Okay. And I think that's all we need. So this is, oh, actually, yeah, so I think everything is correct here. So we're going to have 2 inputs. We have 2 inputs and 2 outputs. And I'm going to run that. And what's going to be created is something similar to, you remember how we did the distance to roads? And that was just based on Euclidean distance. I'm going to turn this backlink off. That was just based on Euclidean distance, straight line distance from the road. But this one, instead of just doing a straight line distance, it's taking into account that cumulative cost grid. So for each movement from cell to cell from the line source in all directions, it's aggregating the cost of that movement. So it's accumulating the cell values moving from one cell to another as you move away from the line source. So that's why you have green or low values in the suitability cost closer to the line source, and the higher values are here. But it's not a linear movement. It's not a linear progression. It's based on that cumulative grid that accounts for all of that, the 3 inputs and their weighted reclassifications and so on. So that's our step 7.